Yeah, well, my feeling is, I look at it from the standpoint of of time saving. I mean, there's a couple that I'm not using anymore. When I was working at Broadcom, I used one called Blotter, and what Blotter was an overlay that went on your desktop. So you had your desktop picture, and then you had an overlay, just like a regular blotter would be on your desk, where you would be writing notes and stuff like that in. And so
Yeah.
you could choose to have your calendar contacts displayed up there, and it was in the background. So you always saw something, and then it had you could mix it around any combinations you wanted to. So you could have stuff to do today would be on, let's say, on in a panel that you could move wherever you want it to be.
I think I remember you
Oh
showing
man,
us at one of
it was a
the
slick
meetings
program, but
back at Orange Coast.
yeah, but since I'm not working on a regular basis anymore, um,
Just
since I've
say it. You're
retired,
retired.
yeah, since I've retired, that's right, that's true. Since I've retired, I just don't need it anymore. So it was just one more thing, and I was trying to thin stuff down. Now here's one that I think Adrian showed this to us, and I've been using this for a while. If you're like me, you've been in a boat where you've had let me get around to this again. You can see I've got quite a few things up here in my menu bar across the top, but there's a lot more than that because I'm using a program called Bartender. So here's the other things that are up here in the menu bar. The status of my batteries, both the mouse and the computer, and the status of the fans, or this is Google Photos, sorry, and Alfred, which is a shortcut that I use all the time for looking for documents or whatever. This is a great program. This is free, by the way, and you can find if I wanted to start up Microsoft Word, I could type in Word, and it finds things like that, and I can hit a return, and boom, Word's up and running. Or if I wanted to get to Affinity, I could say, and you can see the shortcuts over on the right. If I hit a carriage return, it's going to take me into Affinity Photo. If I do a Command 2, it'll take me to Affinity Designer. If I do a Command 3, it'll take me to a tutorial for Affinity Photo. And then it's looked inside my contacts list and it found other things that started with AFF, Affordable Pool Supply, and Schuster and Finch Public Affairs. So it's got that. So Alfred is a freebie, although they have a package that they sell that does a lot, that actually does Google search stuff and everything right from this area. I've just never found that too particularly useful. But I could type in anything. I could type in, if I type in OACC, you can see the most common stuff that it's showing up is right here, and I can either scroll through them and while it's there, hit a return. Otherwise, it defaults, whichever one is highlighted is the one for default for return. If I type
these are
in,
contacts, I see.
well, it's coming from anything. Alfred, you can customize Alfred to get to whatever you want to. So like, you come on down here to preferences. Go ahead.
What I was needing is there a way to search inside of an email, let's say?
Yeah, this does that. This does that.
Okay.
So let's
see,
say
that's what I'm having. The problem I'm having with my blown up mail files, and so
yeah,
let me
think of one real quick here. But this will do it. I don't think it's not as robust as the actual. It's using the search utility database when it starts doing that. If I look up. See, so I don't have anything out there, but I can do a Google search for Christmas, or a search Amazon for Christmas, or a search Wikipedia for Christmas.
Yeah, but wait a second. That's what I'm looking for, is something that would search your computer mail for Christmas.
Yeah, well, of course, the regular search utility does that. You know that, Steve.
Yeah, I'll tell you something. My son is so dead set against that thing. He tells me I should open a folder and use the search on the upper right-hand corner.
Well, that's good and bad. Here's what I do. I don't like the way Apple's done their interface on this. So like I type in Spiegel, and you see the top hits are Spiegel, Diane, and Mark, because that's the most available thing. But I'm gonna open up this window a little bit more, and you can see there's a whole bunch of stuff here, right?
Right.
I don't like the fact that you have to go all the way down here to the bottom to show all in Finder, and then you have to click on this. This is so stupid. I don't believe that Apple did this. But now it's going to take everything that has Spiegel in it on this Mac, because that's why I'm having it search, and it's just populated it into this Finder window. So you see this agenda for March 2006. That's because your name is mentioned in there somewhere. Every one of these documents that you see, now this is just documents, okay? So I'm going to go on down to mail. So every one of these documents that you see here has got the word Spiegel in it somewhere along the line.
Right.
If I keep scrolling down here.
Now that you are using the standard one, the Spotlight.
The built-in search utility.
Okay, I will go home and try that because, like I said, I'm looking.
And look at that! It found 3,790. It found 3,791 items. If I come over here to Dean Cleary and hit a space bar on that, let's open it up. Your name's in his board meeting agenda here somewhere. That makes sense what I'm talking about?
There I am. Down committee.
2005.
Yeah. Well,
because I don't bother to archive this. I got plenty.
I've got stuff. 2006, 2008, and some of it I need to get rid of. But like I had.
Look at that. Look at this one here, Steve. This was an email that I sent to you and two of my friends who were carbon copied. And
they were blind. Yes. Okay.
So I mean, it found that because it found Spiegel in that.
I got it.
Sometimes
this is
the title of the document or mail or whatever. So if you didn't give descriptive names, you'll have. But the cool thing is you can select it like that and hit the space bar, and Quick Look will bring it up, and then you can actually scroll through them.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
I use Quick Look.
I've got a question for you.
Go ahead.
I use the space bar all the time because you can take and have a folder with things by list, by name, and then you say, okay, here's a JPEG. And there's a whole folder full of JPEGs, but you don't want to have to open each one individually. So you can hit the space bar, it brings it up, and then I use the down arrow, and it takes and just opens them for quick view on each item as you go down the list.
And remember, since this is a Finder window, and in your case, Steve, you can just search the desktop because damn near everything you have is on the desktop.
Shut up!
Hey, Greg.
It's really funny.
You can sort them by size. You can sort them by kind. I mean, it's really amazing what they've done after it's, and this is indexing all the time in the background. Once it does it the first time, it's slow the first time. Once it's done it, you're pretty well caught back up again.
Hey, Greg.
Yes.
Hey, I got a question for you. What would be a good way to save the Zoom code so that all we have to do is just pull it up and click on it to get on?
Just that link. I don't know what caused that problem this morning. That link never changes.
Okay, but is there some good way to save it?
Well, I'll tell you what my suggestion would be. Let me go get it first off. So I've got an option to copy it to the URL. I'm going to copy the URL. I just copied it. Okay. All right. So let me go back and share my desktop again. Please. And let me bring up Fantastical. And let's go to. Let me get to a meeting where I've got an OACC, and let's open that up. And let me pop that up. And down here in the note, better than that. Let's say, there we go. How about add URL?
That's going to be for each and every month, right?
Yep.
Well, yeah, that's what he's trying to get to.
So what I'm saying is, I'll be able to go to my calendar. And in fact, let's just bring it up in calendar and look. Just updated on my wife's computer. I heard ding. And let's go to December. And now when I double click that, come on, open up. How about right there? Now all I got to do is just click that.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
Yeah,
what
but-
about January? You going to have to add that into January?
No, because remember I said all events. If I clicked on all events, it should be there for January.
Okay.
I didn't click all events. That was my screw up.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to go back and fix that. So again, you can do it through Fantastical. You can do it in Calendar. I'll come on
Yeah.
back down here to pick OACC. I'll pick the next one because I want to make sure it's current. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and paste that back in.
Just want to ask while some people have their sound up,
No,
I
that
mean, their microphones
do it
on.
that way. Sorry, that won't do it that way.
Okay, is the music and stuff in the background disturbing people? Can they hear it? I mean,
Just once in a while. Not bad.
okay. Greg, I think that what told me that it was not going to do it was because when you moved your mouse over the arrow over to it, it stayed an arrow, not a finger.
Oh, that might be. Oh, by the way, this is another nice feature that you can get to on this. Is if you want to add an attachment to it, you can actually add attachments to it. I think if I put it in Note, will it be duplicated every month or not? I don't know. There has to be a way of doing it, John. I'll
Yeah.
figure it out.
Okay.
You know, Greg,
It does everything.
Greg,
There we go.
it's
All
what's-
future events.
oh, okay. You're changing a repeating event. Okay, yeah, great. I was going to say that's one of the things is you can't figure it out. Most of us can't figure it out. And then it's the
Play with it a
old
little
deal of
bit.
let's put a
And you know, if I get
price on
stuck,
it.
what I do is I go do a Google search, and Google answers everything if you can figure out how to ask the right question.
That's right. And sometimes you have to ask it a couple of times, different ways.
Well, I mean,
But-
the longest time I use two-factor authentication. I don't know whether everybody, if many of you use that or not. It's a more
Yeah.
secure way of doing stuff. So, right, you do something over here that might affect something else, and you'll get a code on your iPhone or your iPad asking to see if it's really you. Because if somebody steals your stuff, they have to steal all the devices in order to be able to make that to work. So, in the case of Fantastical, because it's getting into a file that's up at iCloud. And if you've got two-factor authentication, can you get to it? And you're spilling coffee on me again, Marcia.
Sorry.
Hi, Marcia.
Yesterday she dumped it on my hand, on my shirt, on that shirt. Now she's dumped it on this shirt. Thank you, hon. I'm starting to have a good.
Just go put a little Fantastic on it, Greg. Quit your bitching.
And so anyway, be careful. I'm trying to remember what the hell I was talking about. It must have been real important. Oh, the two-factor authentication. So if you're using a program that has to access some of the Apple guts, in the case of iCloud, it won't work. It has a server issue problem. So I used to go to do a Google search, two-factor authentication with third-party apps, and that explained it. Well, now inside of Fantastical, they got an actual video that walks you through how to go to Apple, what to click on at the Apple ID site for it to generate a pass code that you then go back into accounts and over to Fantastical and put. It already has your ID and put in the passcode, and now it's part of the operating system as far as being able to stick its fingers in and grab what it needs to out of iCloud. So I can live with that, and it works pretty well from that standpoint. Okay, shall I move on?
Yep.
Okay,
The only thing I was going to say before you move on, Greg, is everybody, I'm sure, keeps getting these crazy calls. And lucky for us, we haven't had anybody like while we're sleeping. But the thing is I don't know why the FCC or the FTC can't get it, get an idea in their mind, put a challenge out there, make a deal where they'll give you $1 million if you will devise a way to block these things. It's cheap
They
because
Stephen,
they torment us.
Stephen, they already did that, and the result was a winning entry called No Mo Robo, NOMOROBO. It's not short
Okay.
for No More Robocalls. And what is it is, it's a free subscription service that you sign up for, and it works in conjunction with your phone service, and it has a blacklist of blocked numbers, and when one of those calls comes through, it intercepts it. That's the good
Oh, really?
news. The bad
Well,
news is,
You got to pay for it.
that's the good news. The bad news is, and this is why I don't use it yet, is because in order to use this, you still have to let it ring through. So even when they call your number, before Nomo Robo intercepts it, your phone will still ring 1 or 2 times. You just have to wait and let it ring. For me, I don't want it to ring at all. Dig on it.
That would be nice, but they say they have devices that you can hook up to your phone line that you can have.
Okay.
Huh?
Right.
There is a service called Jolly Roger. You can type a Google on it, and you can get the free version of Jolly Roger. This guy was getting annoyed by those kind of calls. And so what he did is he wrote a computer algorithm that went out there and listened to all the typical questions. And all it does is, now you can customize it for yourself. It costs you like, I don't know, $5 a month or whatever, if you want to customize it. And it'll come on. Hi, Mr. and Mrs. And the computer will actually ask you to say a few comments. But if you go with the purchase amount, so you'll say, so a typical call would be, hi, I'm from so and so, and I'd like to talk. Okay, cool, I'm interested. Go ahead. And then that's it. The computer stops, and the person talks. And after the person waits for a moment, or when they ask certain questions like, well, what do you think, Mr. Locke? Or depending on, he's got a whole list of what it does. And it's really amazing to watch. I say, I'm very interested. Let me go get my wife. Give me a moment. He said, hang on, I'm getting my wife. Meanwhile, this call never came through to you. His whole intent is to make them put a real person on the phone line and stay on for as long as possible before they catch on, to piss them off.
Yeah.
And I've used the free version a couple of times, but I've thought about buying the paid version just for the privilege. And you tell it what phone line you want it to, and it'll answer. And if it sounds like a robocall, it won't pass the call through. But if it sounds like it's a legit call, it'll pass it. So your phone won't ring. Instead, this thing will do all the answering for you.
But most of the things, Greg, they call and they're waiting for you to say hello,
right, and then
3 times or something.
He's got that all worked out, Steve. He's been doing this for years.
Okay, Jolly Roger. Okay, I'll check
Jolly
it out.
Roger, and it looks. It's got a pirate. It's got a black pirate flag, the whole bit, and its whole intention is to just screw with these idiots that bug us with this crap all the time.
I mean, the FTC figured, okay, we've got a plan. We will take and do a do not call list.
Nah, that's worthless.
Well, it doesn't work. It would work if the company was a legal company, or like Nordstrom, or something else, and you could say they check before they send out calls. They follow the rules. But these other places are like, oh, we're taking a survey today, and it's like, I don't do surveys. Click. I don't want to have to even answer it.
Sure.
So I'll go check it out, and I'll mute myself.
I have a question.
Sure. Go ahead, Janine.
Does it, if it picks up a call, doesn't let it through, what happens if another call comes through? Or if you want to pick up the phone to make a call, what happens then?
Well, essentially what you're doing is you're forwarding that call to his service, and then he turns around and forwards the access back to you. So, I mean, as soon as his service takes over, your phone line's freed up.
Okay. Thank you.
So it's almost like having call waiting or whatever it is. It is call waiting. It's taking
Yeah.
care of the junk call.
Okay. Good.
If nothing else, it's worth it just to listen to the audio message over there. Go to jollyroger.com. It's worth it just to listen to it because you'll be laughing by the time you hear it. And he has some records of it. He said, well, look at I'm not so sure I'm really in it. Well, let me go get my senior manager, and he's got some of them that step it where they take it. You know, they'll try to get the closer, right? They'll bring the
Right.
closer in to try to close the call to the next level. And well, let me go get my supervisor, or can I talk to your supervisor? He's got it to where it wastes as much time as possible until they finally just give up and hang up.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, the next one I'm going to talk about is Open Office. We went over a little bit in the past, so let me close this out and close this out. And so first off, Open Office, like it says here on their page, and it's openoffice.org. And oh, by the way, you can get it from a lot of multiple locations. This is the one I find stays the most current, but it's available from a lot of the download.net and a lot of the other public websites. So here I can go in there and I can click on learn more about Open Office. I want to download Open Office. I need help with Open Office. It is a freebie. It is supported by it's under the name Apache, and it's supported by the what do I want to say, the public domain group or whatever the heck it is. This is their most recent. So if I click over here and I want to download it, it's going to come over here and tell me what do I want. Here it is. Their latest version is here, but you can come over here and pick older versions, and you can get it for Linux, you can get it for Windows, more platforms and operating systems. You can get it for a lot of different things. You want it in different languages, they've got it for different languages. You want to get the latest version, which is 4.14. I can download just a language pack if I wanted to, and that way I'd be able to switch languages on it, or I can download the full installation. And explanation is all here. This is brought to you by the same people who brought out GIMP, Graphic Image Manipulation Program. Dumbest name I ever saw, but definitely talks about it. And this is totally free. So let me hide this and let's go to it. Now, the reason I brought up Open Office some time back was, okay, I've added one of the extensions in here. I'm going to go ahead and install it while I'm talking here. No, I'm going to wait until afterwards. I don't want anything taking up time. Okay, so close for right now. Close. Come on. Solves that problem, just send it to the back. The reason I brought up Open Office some time back is I've been a Microsoft user from day one when somebody else paid for it. And I think my version of Microsoft Office is probably 2011. They've been pretty fortunate. It doesn't have all the latest, greatest bells, but, or no, it's probably older than that. It's probably 2004. But over the years, as Microsoft has made a major change to Word, from going from the doc to docx, from XL to XLX, their extensible version, they brought out little patches so that people who had older version of like Office 2004 or 2011 would make them at least compatible to read and save documents in that format. You just wouldn't get all the bells and whistles. But if all you wanted to do was just have a word processor, it was fine from that standpoint. They announced a few months back that as of February or March, they're going to stop supporting that concept. And short of getting it off of one of the pirate sites, Microsoft Office is only going to be available as a subscription, it's available, which is, I think that's the way, it's the only way it's available right now, much like all the Adobe stuff is, which means you're going to be paying 50 or 100 bucks or whatever it is a year for a piece of software that, in my case, I use it maybe once or twice a month anymore. When I used to use it every day, it was a different story. But so I was looking for some alternatives, and there's a lot of them out there. There's Nisus Writer, you pay for that. There's oh sure, I'm starting to have a brain drain. But if you type in Google,
LibreOffice.
and do yeah, I'm sorry, what was it, Frank?
LibreOffice.
LibreOffice.
And
what does that one cost?
It's basically the same as OpenOffice,
Okay.
but at a different fork. And that's what I use. And the only reason is they're more on top of updating than OpenOffice.
Okay, that's good. That's good from that standpoint. So I've always picked this one because it was compatible on the when I worked at Broadcom, I was working on a PC, so it was compatible to be able to go back and forth. So it's sort of like Microsoft Office in that you've got an interface like so. Text document, think of that as Microsoft Word. Spreadsheet, think of that as Microsoft Excel. Presentation, think of that as PowerPoint. Or this could be Keynote. Oh hell, what are they called? Numbers and Pages. We're fortunate that Keynote, Numbers, and Pages, which are decent programs in their own right, are available and do work with Microsoft applications. You can open a Microsoft Word document with Pages. You can't save in the Word format. You can save in the RTF, the rich text format, which is semi-compatible. You can open up an Excel file, but you can't save it in an Excel format. You save it as a numbers format or as a CSV or tab delimited file. You can open up PowerPoint presentations. You can save your Keynote presentation as a QuickTime movie that can be placed into PowerPoint, but you can't save it directly back to PowerPoint. And a lot of that is because Keynote, Apple's presentation program, does 1,000 times more things than what PowerPoint does, and does it much more efficiently. So there's no, that's why they have you turn it into a movie, because there's no other way to be able to get all that intelligence back over there. Then finally, Microsoft has a database program, so does OpenOffice. I can't remember if Microsoft Office, the top of the line version might, but the regular version I don't think has a drawing program. Well, this is a drawing program, very similar to what Mac Draw would be. Microsoft has a formula program, as does this. And there's a pile of templates. So let's come over here and take a look at the templates. And if we come on down here into presentations, we can see there's a slew of them. And they don't, I thought they did a preview. There we go.
I'm going to rest my eyes for a little bit.
Okay.
And so if you're doing presentations, there's a whole bunch of them. Come on down here and just samples. Okay, how about my documents? I don't have anything in here. No, it's just reading the stuff that I've got. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of this because I'm going to talk about the Word part of it. Let's get into that. And of course, it supports full screen. And here I am in a regular Word type document. I can, I'm going to turn that back on because I'm not used to working that way, but I'm going to go ahead and make the screen pretty much full size here. So it's a regular word processor, just like anything else. It's got all the bells and whistles, all the spell checking crap, all that kind of baloney. I can open up existing Microsoft documents. And gotta find something that's in Word format. Actually, it'll probably open up this. Nope, didn't like that. Didn't like the way I did that. Should have said Unicode. That was probably part of the problem. Not a good choice. I'm trying to find a Microsoft doc. Well,
Greg, if you want, I can email you Microsoft.
I might have to have you do that here in a moment if I don't get my act together here a little bit. Jeez.
Let me get working on it.
Can't you just search for a Microsoft Word document?
Oh, you know what? That would have been smart, wouldn't it? Yes, I can. Oh, come on. Here we go. That'll work.
Well, from here, the text looks all garbled.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
The text looks all garbled. I can't even tell
Well,
what.
that's because I was just typing in junk. That's all.
Oh.
Sorry about that. Where the hell was I? I was just there. Well, it's more like it. There's a text file that I had.
Yeah.
Far and few between.
I'm sorry?
Far and few between.
Yeah. Well, I know I've got them. I've just got them rat-holed somewhere that I can't remember where they're at.
Yeah.
Oh, well. If you're looking for a word processor that's free, I would suggest either trying something like this or trying the one that Frank had talked about. They both seem to be really good choices. And the important part is they're free.
But it won't save as a Word file?
Yes, no, this one will.
Okay.
OpenOffice will save in all those different formats.
Okay, good.
It's the Apple stuff that won't do it.
Okay.
I've been using OpenOffice since I had to give up. I didn't go beyond Microsoft Office 2004.
Is this you, Ron? Oh, yeah, it is. I see. Okay. And
so I've been using that for about 8 years, and it's worked fine.
yeah.
It translates other programs, and then you can save it in various formats. I use it for a spreadsheet as well as text. I sometimes use Pages because it's some things I'm doing. I think I prefer numbers.
Well, and the nice thing is Pages, comes free, so that's kind of nice. It's got some smarts, and there's some things about it I like. There's some things about it I don't like. But it's hard to argue with free. You can't bitch too much about when you're not paying anything for it. Yeah, I guess you could say you're paying for it when you buy a Macintosh. You can look at it from that standpoint. But to me, the convenience of what you get, it makes it worthwhile right there.
Greg,
Yes.
I just emailed you a Word doc of some
Okay.
sort, something about dog chow or something.
All right, let me go get it before I waste anybody's time here.
Yeah. Well, Greg, while you're looking that up, I just wanted to tell everybody you saw I dropped out for a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
It basically is I'm sitting at this covered area with 2 chairs, a table, tea, and if the iPad gets too hot, it shuts down, and it gives
Really?
a big thermometer and says, it has to cool down before you can use it again. So I had to move over to the other side and stay in the shade because as the sun came up, it came through between the 2 shades, the one next to me, and so that's why I dropped out accident, unbeknownst to me. I mean,
There we go, Bart. Is that the document you sent me?
Yes, it is.
She asked if you had a dog.
Steve, this morning when you first came on with that background, at first I thought you were on a square-rigged sailing boat.
Yeah. Looks what it looked like.
It does kind of look that way. You're right.
Bring up that Word doc. I never got to finish reading it.
Sorry. Just
He's talking,
It
but you
was
can't hear
funny.
anything.
Stephen's talking, but Stephen, you got to unmute first before you speak.
yeah, sorry. Yeah, Greg, the reason I wanted to bring it up, I'm going to take a photo of it so I can read it later.
okay.
Thank you. Yeah, you can see I'm not on a boat. You see those light poles there?
Yeah.
But
It's too bad you're not out on a boat. You could just dunk your hot iPad in the drink and cool it off.
Oh, salt.
a little salt, yeah. Well, I can't have salt. That's not on my diet.
Yeah, but you can get that. You can get that fake salt stuff. That pretty damn. I don't put salt on anything anymore.
You can't.
You can't
use that. I use Mrs. Dash. Oops.
That's what I mean. The fake salt.
Yeah, I use Mrs. Dash now because there is. No, it's basically other spices like pepper and a bunch of other little deals. You should check it out before I even tasted them, which was a feature of my dad that everybody thought was kind of weird.
And if I want to save that, I can choose wherever I'm going to save it to, and here I can come over here. That's their default format to save their files is ODF, open document format. But you can see I can come on down here and save it in a lot of different, in Data Exchange, in Diff, in Excel, 97, 2000, and XP. So I've got quite a few choices. The latest that they have that they've got authorization to use, obviously, but it's XML, so that's good, is Excel 2003. So,
Greg?
Yes.
I just noticed you had Gina Balding on the list. How did you get Gina Balding? Or is she part of my contact list?
Oh, she's probably this. I don't know what this list was that I was putting together, Steve. I'm not sure. I probably just robbed that out of context.
Oh,
it.
Because she was behind. She lives behind me and works for First American Title, which is
well somewhere along the line. Either I got her name
freeway.
from somebody. I got her name from somebody. Well, let's come up here and look.
God, you got D-Base? Oh, God, I remember that on the Apple II.
I got her name from somewhere, and I don't know where from.
Don't worry about it. It's not critical.
I've never used their drawing program because I've got other ones to be able to work with, but it looks like it's got all the same basic capabilities.
This, you know, one thing I do, I was telling my wife last night, or not last night, at breakfast with this friend of hers. I said, there is a friend of my wife's husband was a doctor and had his own practice in Irvine. And finally, he's been in touch with Hogue, and now he's a doctor at Hogue. And he doesn't have to deal with running his office and making these numbers or doing whatever to pay for the rent. And so he made a video, or Hogue made a video of him talking and describing his thing. And so what happened was, it both my wife and her friend both noticed, because they're both friends with this lady, that there was wind noise. He had a little microphone on his lapel, and I said, what I like to do is I like to download those things, and on Facebook, if somebody puts in an old picture and they it's broken or it's torn or something, I try and patch it up for them in Photoshop, and then send it back to them. I had one picture of my cousin where she was mad about her haircut when she was a kid, and so she took and cut up a picture of her and her mom together. It was a very nice picture, and cut it up, and she had posted it like that, and I fixed it, and that's just really, it's a lot of fun. Okay.
Let's see what format this can save as. Too many. Is there there is an export? Okay. There you go. You can export to a lot of different formats. That's good. Looks like this is a Illustrator type clone, because it looks like this is all a quite a few different formats. I'll have to play with this a little bit, because this is because I've decided I've dropped my Creative Cloud. I mean, I've got like 2 weeks on it left, something like that, because it was just getting to be ridiculous. I mean, it's like, for the whole package Creative Cloud, because I'm no longer eligible to get the student price I was getting, it's $50 a month. That's ridiculous. So
Yeah.
before I lost the deal, I was paying 20, I think, and before I lost the deal, I just decided Affinity has got a program out right now called Affinity Designer, and apparently they're going to be bringing out something very similar to Designer, sort of like Illustrator, I guess. But I've only been playing with it, and I have not gotten very good at it. They've
Well,
announced
Greg,
a
I
ton of upgrades to it, but apparently they're going to be bringing out a page layout program similar to InDesign, which I'm really looking forward to. Go ahead, Steve.
oh, good. Who's doing that?
Affinity.
Open Office is doing that?
No, Affinity. Affinity Photos,
Affinity. Oh,
Affinity
okay.
Designer, and they're going to be bringing
Yeah.
out. They're going to be bringing out.
So do they can you edit photos or correct things like that with Affinity?
Yes.
Oh, sure.
Did they have a free version for a little while? And because I'll use anything as long as I can get the ability to.
Well, this is the Affinity Designer. This is
I
the
don't know what
book
happened.
that I got.
Yeah.
Can you see it? And this, it has all the pieces to creating different shapes and how you deal with them. And it goes into how you work with pixels also. So I haven't had a lot of time to work with it yet, but I like the book and the processes that it uses. It's not, I think I could do a better job of writing the book. Some of it's a little obtuse.
Well, I know
where'd you get
you've
that
written a lot of manuals.
Yeah. So, but they could have done a better job. I thought of offering.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this is what works, and it's a substantial book.
I just renewed my Adobe subscription. I get it's for $10 a month. Get the Lightroom Photoshop Bridge thing for the photography, and I was considering.
Yeah, you got the Photoshop in the Lightroom thing. Yeah, yeah.
I was thinking of. I was really seriously considering Affinity, especially after we had the demonstration a few months ago. But then I found out that they don't have an equivalent for Lightroom.
Not yet. They're working on one.
Yeah, I know that. So I'm holding off, and I
Makes
paid
sense.
a year in advance on my Adobe.
Yeah.
And when Affinity comes out with a substitute for Lightroom, and if it does everything that supposedly it should, I hope, then I'll I can drop the
Adobe
thing and get my money back on that. But I don't want to. I think there'll be some period of time where I want to have the two programs concurrent.
Oh yeah, for an overlap. Yeah, sure. Okay, I'm not so sure that I won't dig up an old copy of Photoshop that will work on this operating system and put it on here just to have it, just in case. My problem with the Adobe products, a lot of people feel this way, is since about Photoshop 6 or 7, they've gotten so bloated with they want to be able to do everything they possibly can. And I mean, there's no comparison speed wise. I mean, I think Affinity Photos doesn't do near as much, but it smokes compared to Adobe in my case, at least on this 5-year-old laptop. So, but my big gripe was I don't want to be spending $200-300 a year for something I only use once or twice a month.
Yeah, well I'm
one thing about
spending $50 for a program that's good for several years. I can live with that one. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, here's what happened to me recently is when I got the 27-inch iMac, I took the system up to one of the higher systems. I think it's 10.10 Yosemite.
Wow, that's almost current for you.
Yeah, and well, I was using 10.6.8 on my Mac Pro, and my son's saying, "Dad, you got those computers sitting downstairs. You just gotta wipe the hard drive and redo them." And so what happened though that really pissed me off, and I tried to find it on Google, is these companies like HP and Samsung, and they have you go look on their site to update your drivers,
right?
And they have now taken it upon themselves to decide when they're not going to support it anymore. And I have a what is it, laser desk or whatever, M2727, and I love it. And it does document scan and document feed and all this stuff. And the damn thing is, just because I went up, now that becomes I can't scan. I can print, but I can't frickin' scan. And so I found this ViewSonic, I think, or something, that made a generic, but it's just like these companies just, if you don't stay up, you're toasted every time. And the deal about the yearly or monthly subscriptions is, I mean, they got a new way now. $10 a month doesn't sound bad for software that you would pay hundreds for, but then again, it's like, when will they decide to stop doing it or something?
Right.
Well, Samsung sold their printer division to HP, right?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
Well,
you know
I've
something?
got an older 3175 FW laser color printer, and I had a heck of a time finding a driver, but I found out that Apple has old drivers for these printers.
I went and checked on that, John, and I went there, and when I went to the HP site, it said we're no longer supporting the scanning function. Go to Apple's site and do software update,
Right.
and there was nothing. It's MFP 2727 NF. And so I was really ticked.
How old is that printer?
I don't know, probably, I don't know.
Well, mine's about 7 years old, and it still works. So I don't know.
I would say mine's at least 10 years old.
Oh, maybe they didn't go back that far. I don't know.
Yeah, perfect condition. But here's what.
If you're okay, you can, I'm trying to think of the name of there was a company in Florida that made probably 80% of the printer drivers, and Apple bought that company, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago. Like that.
Okay. I didn't know that.
It's open source.
Yes.
So from a printing standpoint, GhostScript falls under that category. That was written by them. And there's 2 or 3 others. And you can actually get to that. You can actually get to that Apple hardcore by going to a particular web address, which is internal on your Mac, and you can get into that dialog box. So let's say, as an example, your printer, you've got an Epson here. I've got a couple of Epsons here. The Epsons come up and they always default to color. I can actually get into that hard code, not the code, but get into a web page that talks directly to the printer driver and change that to black and white and change it to A4 and set new defaults up compared to what Apple gives you, okay? You can get access to that. And you can get access to printer drivers not, quote, officially sanctioned by Apple because they're no longer being updated. That's the big issue. It's whether you're going to currently support them or not. But you can find that stuff. It's available. For the love of me, I can't think of the name of that, but it's available. Now, from a scanning standpoint, Steve, from a scanning standpoint, you can get a piece of software called, I want to say, ViewScan. I haven't used it for years.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was ViewScan.
ViewScan.
That's what I did.
A generic scanner that works with just about any scanner out there. On the market.
I got that. I just got that when I someplace, whether it was Apple's thing or update or it was Samsung's. What happened was I said, well, I'll try that, and it worked. It's not as easy and fancy as the original one, but it's their decision. They may think the printer's obsolete, but mine is in pristine condition. And here's the thing that I've got now too, with speaking of Samsung, I've got, you remember Sylvia Sliger?
Sure.
Okay. Her daughter had me come over and pick out any stuff I wanted of hers. And she had a closed box sealed CLP 550, brand new, and it's heavy as hell. I mean, it's not out of the box yet. And so what happens is I tried to find that and to get the drivers, and it's like they won't do it. So I've got to find, because what happens is I got kicked out of the garage when my son bought a new VW, and in front of my car where I parked, this thing was on a little rolly, like a furniture moving dolly. And so they took and got it in the house somehow. And now my wife wants to redo the bedroom, and I want to get it out of there. But if I can make it usable, then either I can use it or give it to somebody who can use it. But it's all about these damn drivers. It's a shame that it has to be so hard. So,
Well, the problem ends up being is as the computers get smarter or whatever it is. I mean, how they don't want to Guten print. That might be it. Guten print. That might be it. Yeah,
okay.
sourceforge.net. So switching to a generic. So I typed in generic printer driver Mac and got a page with a listing. I believe it was Guten print, but I won't swear to it. But
Okay.
set up a default printer in the print center and with generic printer driver.
Okay.
So here a guy saying I can't print on my MacBook. There are some that are included with OACC. Okay, HP printers is telling how to use Guten print. I'm pretty sure that's it. So you might type that in your Google search, Steve.
Generic printer drivers.
And then and it'll pop up and it'll give you Mac, PC, whatever. Pick Mac.
Right. Because
you'll just do a little. I think it was GIMP print. That might have been it. Yeah, printers for PCL and PostScript both. Yep.
Okay, but here's the one thing, Greg. The funny thing is, to show you how old this printer was, it didn't have a date that I could find on it, but the thing is it supports Ethernet and parallel, and was set up to work with PCs, Windows up to 98 or Vista. What do you call it? Not Vista.
XP.
XP. Yes. Okay. Well, I don't want to use XP. I want to use the thing I've got and be able to print in color. I've got I've got about 4 color printers sitting in the office upstairs that my wife and I share, unused, and their color. And I finally broke loose of my what was it, HP 2525 or something, that color. And to get the cartridges, I'd have to pay $600 at Micro Center even. And I said, nope, I'm not going to do that. Recycle. It's just terrible. So I'm going to take your advice, Greg, and go look up generic printer drivers, Mac.
Yeah,
just
it's probably going to have
phone.
Let's see. Let me click on this and see what it says here.
Yeah, one of the nice things about having network on your printers, you can log any of the printers that have a net that you can connect it to the network. You can actually log into the GUI of it and get to its settings and set those settings on network. I won't buy a printer that doesn't have network settings on it.
Well,
now even the cheapest ones, Frank, have that capability now. So, you know.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is, Frank, you should come over sometime and see what I did with my house. I paid extra for what's called a Wireworks package, and I've got every bedroom terminates in the upstairs office. I should have done what they had done, which was basically put the box in the master bedroom closet so I could stand up, and instead I made the mistake of ordering it to have the punch they all go into 2 different panels below my desk. And I thought, oh, that'll be great, you know. Well, every time I got to go punch something in or mess with Ethernet or something, I've got to get down on my hands and knees. And then I got to use a pair of glasses, you know, like reading glasses, to be able to see in focus what I'm doing, because these glasses are graduated trifocals. and it would just be very, very difficult to do. So I made a little mistake there. But
Hey, Steve, I've reached the point where I've got these everywhere anymore.
yeah, my
I mean,
wife.
It's like you know, we're getting little things for the motorhome, right? And every time I
Yeah,
get something, damn, the damn instruction manual they printed so friggin' small. I gotta have a magnifying glass to be able to read it. You know.
that's right.
You
And
think you have it?
hey, I got one of those too. We call them. My wife named it, or my son named it, Bug Eyes. It's my Bug Eyes
That's
because
good.
I've got a picture I took somewhere where I was looking. You could see my magnified eyeballs in it. You know, it was funny. But this Samsung thing. Oh no, we were talking about networks. So Frank, so then I had a 16 port hub, and when I was at Goodwill one day, it's one of my places that I should never go into because I'm a impulse buyer, and I found a 24 port hub for $19, and not a hub, a switch. And so and then I've got all these video cables coming down out of the other box that are RG6. And what happens is I set it up so that I can do splitters and stuff like all this. And you know, I haven't really put it to total use. Just the rooms that I use, I have that. But they also ran for me an Ethernet and a coax to certain places on the front, on the outside of the house, where I could buy a security system and put it in. And I've been there 17 years. All the parts are in the cabinets, and my wife's saying, "Why don't you just sell them? You're never going to do it." Plus the fact I can't stand on a high ladder anymore, or I can't stand on the roof anymore to do that. So, but I want to make use of them because these, you should see the number of people, and you see every time on the news, Channel 7 News will do it. They'll show you a video of a surveillance camera at a one of those shoot, the marts, you know, the little shopping marts at the gas stations and stuff, and 7-Elevens, and they got to understand that they're on camera wherever they go practically. And so I said, well, if I do that, then the people of my cul-de-sac are protected also. And if they don't want it pointed towards their house, I can adjust it. But so that 24 port hub was, switch was just, I just pulled out one, put the other one in, and now I have every place that I need network. I have it set up that way. Cox did a real screwy thing to us. Not screwy, it's just, I believe it should be illegal. I was paying my charges for my monthly TV, okay? And the houses that we bought were pre-wired for standard video. And what happens was, any room that you wanted to have HBO or one of these other extra channels, you'd have to take and rent their box. And the box was $8.95 a month, and we have 3 of them. Well, what happens is, a while back they blame it on the FCC, and I think it's a crock of shit. I want, oops, sorry, girls, that they're taking and making us pay. First it was $1 a month. Now it's $2.99 a month. And they basically, what these things do is they block your signal. We used to sit at the dinner table and watch Jeopardy every night. And so what happened now is we had to order a mini box for that one TV, because if you plug a TV now into the wall, it will show up anything, because they've gone to the digital format, and they say, well, the FCC said we have to do this by a certain date and all that. And I
Well, you know, have you
kept,
just for kicks, Steve? I was out in the motorhome, and we were out there working on it or whatever, and I had a little time to kill, and I thought, well, I've
yeah.
never tried off the air HD, so I went ahead and got on.
Oh yeah, but you're
Holy
way up
mackerel,
north.
there's a ton of channel. Well, that's true, and we are up on a little bit of a hill too, and we're pretty much line of sight to Mount Wilson. And
Yeah, well, see, that's
but
the
I couldn't. There
that's
must be like 150 channels I'd never seen before. You know.
well. Here's the thing, though, is Diane and I, our first place was a townhome in La Habra, and out behind it, the Whittier Mountains was where Channel 52 was, their transmitter. And then there was another channel that came out, the Z channel or something.
There was
And
the Z
so,
channel. There was on.
yes,
There were several
and
like that.
so there was, somebody had made a project in one of the electronics magazines, how you can make a antenna that is made with a coffee can.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
and so I did it, and it worked, and I went and put it up on the roof, because the roofs were flat, and ran the wires up through a spot there, and it worked great for a while. But the thing is where you were paying and getting everything under that by just hooking up to because I've got TVs all over the house. In fact, they closed a coffee shop at the library, and I bought their flat panel TV, and it's spare now, and so it just every TV that you want to hook up that you don't have the uh, more expensive box, you have to have these stupid mini boxes. And I was wanting guys at Channel 7 or Channel 2 has it also, 7 on your side or 2, whatever it was, to take and let them research that and, say, hey, there's a problem here. Something is being done that's unfair to the user. We're paying our money. We should be able to hook up any TV to get the standard channels, because the mini box does not give you the HBO channels. The mini box only takes you up to like 100 or something like that. And but I couldn't get anybody. Well, a guy at Channel 2, you'd go and leave a message for them, and they never got back with me about wanting to do that story. So anyway, I better.
Well, see, there's one thing about HD. Okay, when we went from analog to digital, that was for over the air. The thing you have to remember is that cable companies don't have to follow that, because
No, they don't. As a matter of fact,
they're
the quality
private.
I think you're right. I think, Frank, if I'm not mistaken, the quality of broadcast HD is actually better than cable HD.
Well, I will never pay for cable. This started back when Conley Copley first installed in Costa Mesa. This is what happened with me. I had a top of the line antenna with a rotor on my roof. I could swing around, pick up Santa Barbara, pick up San Diego channels and everything. Well, anyway, I decided I'd sign up for it. I got it. Channel 13 just came in like trash. I had my wife. My wife was home when the guy came out, and she was actually watching Channel 13 off the antenna. And he goes, well, that looks pretty darn good. And she flips the AB switch, And all of a sudden he goes, yeah, that is pretty bad. They never fixed it. From that day I canceled, and I will not have cable. And
Yeah.
the whole thing is you have an antenna, you get over the air. Even the HD they have on cable today cannot compare to over the air.
No, it's
Well,
not. It's a lot
see, the
more. 'Cause
thing
they're not
is,
held to the same. They're not held to the same specs as the
Exactly.
over-the-air broadcasters
And
are.
the thing about the FCC, that was a crock of crap with the FCC that they were feeding you, Steve.
Well, what I'm thinking about doing myself, sometime after the first of the year, is I'm going to reevaluate my whole cable
well,
AT&T Uverse thing, because I may go with over-the-air and then just use Netflix and Prime to get anything else that I want to get. You know.
That's basically
Yeah.
what I have. I have
Yeah.
Netflix, and I've got over
Because
the air.
quite honestly, I mean,
get-
it's
I program my TV. It's 156 channels, of course. 50 to 70 of them I could care less about because it's garbage I don't even want to watch.
right. Same here.
So
and what they did in our area is they took the Spanish channels and they broke them up. Instead of having the Spanish channels as an optional plan, they force you to take them, and they take away things that you're interested in and shove them over.
Oh yeah, I mean,
And
the tier
and
that we were at, Steve, we got Hallmark, but then they took away the Hallmark movies and mysteries or whatever it was, and I had to go to another. Actually, I was able to buy just that one channel to have it added in because Marcia really liked that channel. So we bought
and
the 300
you have
plus
what
one or two
cable?
channels.
What cable do you have?
AT&T
Oh,
Uverse. So it's direct.
okay. Well, see, Diane and I were talking about our expenses and stuff. We pay $175 for the TV. That's just for that. Then we pay for the phone, and we pay for internet. So we pay more now than we paid when we first got married for our 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Everything is just ridiculously expensive, and I feel we're getting shafted, you know. Now the problem, I'd like to do what you did, and I said that when I was in La Habra, I could do that, and I could get a deal direct to Mount Wilson and all that, but the technology wasn't available back in '79. And so what happened was, I'm down south now, and not only can I not see Mount Wilson, but I'm down a level, a plateau, down a slope, so that it's totally blocked. Mark's bought a couple of the antennas and stuff for over the air, and none of them work. And it's like, yeah, there should be a way that you could subscribe to a company that rebroadcasts over the air, you know, like an extension. You know, they'll pick it up and they'll put it out on a over the air, because these guys, I mean, I understand how much money the corporations have spent on the equipment, the cables and stuff, but how many people really knew that the decision of which cable company comes to your city is by the city council members? They decide who it is, and once it's in, that's what you're stuck with. The cables belong to the cable company.
Um,
So,
a couple things I'd like to bring into this. Is everybody aware of the fact that within the next year or so, they're going to be coming out with 8K TVs, basically double the resolution on them. And that brings up questions whether your provider, be it satellite like I have or cable or whatever, are going to be supporting this from the or if it's going to be something where
Well,
you're buying TVs that are capable of more than you're ever going to see on the air.
that's the thing, Bart, is I tell my son, he'll say, well, Dad, this $200 headphones sound better than this one. I said, Mark, I'm having trouble, as you get older, you lose certain frequencies and stuff. And I said, and I'm fine with standard def. And then he showed me like a football game on the HD channels, and then now they're doing the HBO channels, and all those are now high def. And but the thing is, I'm not willing to pay for the extra high def because it's good enough.
Hey guys, it's 1 o'clock where I live because we don't change times, so I got to get going.
Sorry. Okay.
We'll see
Good
you.
talking there.
See you all later.
All right,
Bye,
John.
John. Take care.
Okay.
Yeah, good Thanksgiving.
Bye, John.
Bye-bye.
Okay. I got to go too because Diane just texted me and asked where I am. So it was good to make it today. I really enjoyed it. And I got to call somebody when I get home and see if he wants to bring over his Mini. So that was Ron Wempen. Yeah. So I'll give you a call unless you want to bring it over to Fashion Island and meet me. It's a lot closer than my place. So I got my phone with me, and if you need to, just do that. And we'll see everybody next month.
All right, Steve.
Take care. Thanks.
Guys,
Have a good Thanksgiving, Steve.
I
All
promise.
right, guys.
I
We'll
probably
talk to you
won't-
later. I'll edit this and get it up in the next few days, and I'll figure out what we're going to talk about next month.
I probably won't be here in December because I have a conflict with the other group, and I'm going to be tied up from probably the whole time from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. East Coast
Okay.
time.
All right.
So
Well,
I don't see
watch
you in December. Hopefully I'll see you all in January. So.
all right, Bruce. You guys have a good Thanksgiving and a Christmas if I don't talk to you between now and then.
Bruce,
You too.
before you go, Bruce, I got a question for you. Since you are in this much bigger group than we have here and have more people to give feedback and so forth, what is your opinion, or from the feedback you're getting, on the new High Sierra? Are you getting feedback that they still have a lot of problems, or does it seem to be settling down to the point where I should go ahead and put it on my computer? What's your opinion?
Well, my own personal opinion is a lot of people should still hold off, or at least install it on a spare hard drive and don't use it as your production or main machine until they get some of the later bugs worked out. For example, the guy in our club who edits all our movies for us uses a copy of FileMaker Pro, and unfortunately, he took the Apple guy's word for it that everything would be hunky-dory and it would all work properly with High Sierra. So what does he do? He goes home and he installs High Sierra, or upgrades to High Sierra on all of his Macs, which is about 4 of them, including the one that he always uses with the big screen to edit the videos. Now he finds out that Final Cut Pro won't work properly with High Sierra in the current latest versions of those two programs. For one thing, I think it wouldn't import movies properly, or it was a fundamental critical error or bug, and it's still not fixed. Although they're working on it, there should be a fix eventually in whichever program. I don't know if it's Apple's fault or Final Cut's fault, but whoever, it's eventually going to get fixed. But for right now, he's got a real problem because it's harder, as you know, to downgrade or go back once you've upgraded.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he's doing. I guess he's just going to wait it out or something.
Well, if he had cloned his drives before he updated, he could have just wiped them and then reinstalled them, and that would have been the easy way to do it.
You're right. I mean, hindsight's better than foresight. I think I sent you guys the link to Rick Thews, the iMentor, and his problems with High Sierra. Now, that was a beta version. That was a beta. It wasn't the final release. But when he installed the beta version of High Sierra on his machine, and it did it ran the setup assistant and everything, and it brings all the accounts in and all your stuff and everything. Well, when it started up, he found, lo and behold, 2 of his 4 accounts were there, and the other 2 accounts weren't even there. So, he had problems right off the bat. It gets worse, folks. For example, all your friendly disk utilities, if you have Disk Warrior or any of those other third-party disk tools, I don't think any of those have been upgraded yet for High Sierra. Eventually,
TechTool Pro has.
Eventually,
TechTool Pro just came out with 9.5 a couple of weeks ago.
TechTool Pro?
Yep.
TechTool did? Okay, well, that's good to know.
And
but
if you've got if you've got any of the 9 versions, it's a $20 upgrade.
And I'm not sure if third-party clone utilities like SuperDuper and Carbon Copy Cloner, I don't know if those are compatible with High Sierra or not.
Yeah, I think
Carbon Copy Cloner is.
There's a good site, you guys, and I'm sure most of you have heard of Macintosh.
Yes.
Okay. Macintosh has been around since the 90s, and all they do, they don't have no ads on their website, and everybody there or most of the people on there, they really talk Macintosh. That's pretty much what they talk, and they talk about all these bugs that come up. Go there, check it out. Every day they have a lot of good stuff on there.
If you're a person who only uses your computer for light things like light web browsing and email and not a whole lot else, maybe Microsoft Office or something, and you have a recent version of Office, you might never notice any problems with High Sierra, but I wouldn't still advise people to be a guinea pig, and try it. But
no.
I'm not saying don't install it. I'm saying proceed very, very carefully. Be sure you've got good backups, which is always a good idea anyway. Before you install it, back up your entire hard drive.
Right.
I would recommend either using Disk Utility or a third-party clone utility to make a clone of your entire internal drive, and also use Time Machine to make a backup. Do both. You can't have too many. If something goes wrong, you'll be really glad you did it. But I mean, yes, I'm not saying never do it, but right now, until Apple makes a major bug fix release, which who knows when that's going to be, I think it's a little premature. And a lot of it has to do with the change to the new file system. But not everybody will see that, because the first release, unless you have an all-solid-state drive, your file system will be left the same way it is now. In other words, it won't upgrade you to the new APFS. It'll leave you at, what's it called? HFS Plus or macOS Extended Journal, whatever you have now. That'll still be your file system if you have a rotating drive, or if you have a hybrid drive like a Fusion drive. You'll still have the same file system, so you won't have those problems, and all your old disk utilities will probably still work. But that doesn't mean there won't be other problems in addition to those, too, having to do with compatibilities with other third-party apps like Final Cut Pro, for example. Now, if you have an all-solid-state drive, either one that came in your Mac or that you've upgraded to, it will probably change your file system over to the new APFS file system.
It will.
Yeah, and then you will have, and there's no choice either. You run the installer, there's no way to pick which file system. It's either one or the other, and the installer, not you, determines which one based on what kind of hard drive.
Yeah, if you're installing it on a external drive that's already HFS journaled, the operating system will run on an HFS journal drive.
Right.
But I found out the hard way that I had went ahead and I thought, well, what were the new file system? And I couldn't put the older operating system on it. It wouldn't work.
Actually, there is a way to stop it, even on installing it on the SSD drive. I think there's something that you would have to put into. I've read about it, but I can't.
Oh, I remember seeing something about that, Frank. There is a way to force.
There may be a hack or a tweak somewhere.
There is. There's
Yeah,
always
well,
a hack.
actually, it's using the terminal application. So
Yeah.
and that that's not hacking. That's telling the system to not do a certain thing. So
yeah, right. But it depends on how you look at hacking, But yes, I mean it's probably not hacking in one sense, but Apple would probably consider it hacking. Let's put it that way, because it's not the quote Apple way to do things.
Well, they're doing what Microsoft was doing now. Now I've heard of people getting that all of a sudden they're getting forced updates for High Sierra, and they didn't even ask for it. If you have auto updates turned on, I've heard of that happening to some people.
So the one thing you need to do, I think, above all else, is get Joe Kissel's book. Take control of upgrading to High Sierra. It's only $10 as a PDF. Everything you need to know is in there. He updates it. He's already had to do 2 updates, which is unusual in a very short time because of last-minute changes Apple did to the final release public version of High Sierra beyond the betas that he was writing his book on.
Hey guys, I gotta go. But you can keep on shooting the breeze if you want to. No big deal. Just whenever.
Yeah.
Janine, if it's okay with you, I'd like to give you a call. I got something I want to talk to you about. Okay?
You want me to call? You want me to call you?
Either way.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right. I'll
right.
try to get it done. I'll call you this afternoon.
That'd be fine.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I need
Bye,
to go too, everybody.
Okay.
We'll talk to
Bye.
you all later.
By the way,
I'll
just-
see you in
Thank you.
December or January.